Good morning. It is Wednesday morning. I have my cup of coffee and I have my Bible this morning. This morning, we're going to look at the sixth seal. If you'll remember from yesterday, the seals represent salvation because Jesus is the only one who's able to open up the seals. He's the only one who's able to give us salvation as well. Now, there are three things that are happening in the sixth seal. And I'm going to try and break it up in those three things. The first thing that's happening is a cosmic chaos. A cosmic chaos. The second thing that's happening is the sealing of 144,000. And the third thing that's happening is there is a great multitude in heaven that no one could number. No one could count them. And so let's take a look at this first one, this cosmic chaos. It starts in Revelation chapter 6, verse 12. It says, I looked, and when he opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became like blood. And the stars of heaven fell to the earth, as a fig tree drops its late figs when it is shaken by a mighty wind. Then the sky receded as a scroll when it is rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place. And the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave and every free man hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand? So the very first thing that happens when he opens up the sixth seal is there's this cosmic chaos. And when that cosmic chaos is all over, they have come to the conclusion that the day of the Lord, the day of the wrath of the Lamb has come. Now, where do we get that idea from? Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 15. Zephaniah chapter 1, actually it's chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. All right, Zephaniah chapter 1, 14 and 15 says, the great day of the Lord is near. It is near and hastens quickly. The noise of the day of the Lord is bitter. There the mighty men shall cry out. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of devastation and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. You see, the day of the Lord is not a day that we want to be a part of. It's a bad day. It's a day of darkness, a day of gloominess, a day of clouds. It's a terrible, terrible day. Now, while you're back there in Zephaniah, you're close to Joel. So look up Joel chapter 2. And in Joel chapter 2, verse 31, it's actually going to be quoted in Acts chapter 2, verse 20. But Joel chapter 2, verse 31, Joel, the prophet, says, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before, and that's the key word, before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord. Acts chapter 2, verse 20, the Apostle Peter quotes the prophet Joel, and he says the same thing. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord. So when you look at those two prophecies, the prophecy from Joel and quoted by the Apostle Peter on the day of Pentecost, when you look at those, you realize that everything that happened before seal number 6 was not part of judgment. Everything that happened before seal number 6 was not the wrath of the Lord. Because the wrath of the Lord does not come until after the sun turns black and the moon turns to blood red. And that happens when the 6th seal is open. So when the 6th seal is open, the sun turns black, the moon turns blood red, the stars will actually fall from the sky like a fig tree that has been shaken in a strong wind, and the sky will roll up, recede like a scroll. And so there is cosmic chaos that's going on, and everybody is afraid at the time, because it is the day of the Lamb's wrath, the day of the Lord, and who is going to be able to stand at the day of the Lord. So now judgment can happen. So the first 5 seals have taken place. That's not judgment. That's part of salvation. But now that the sun turned black and the moon turned blood red, now judgment can happen. So we're going to take a look at the second thing that happens when the 6th seal is open. It's starting with Revelation chapter 7, verse 1, and it goes through verse 8. It says, after these things, so after the sun turned black, the moon turned blood red, after these things, I saw 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, on the sea, or on any tree. Then I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was granted to harm the earth and the sea, saying, do not harm the earth, the sea, or the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God on their foreheads. And I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel were sealed. Of the tribe of Judah, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Reuben, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Gad, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Asher, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Naphtali, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Manasseh, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Simeon, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Levi, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Issachar, 12,000 were sealed. Of the tribe of Zebulun, 12,000 were sealed. And of the tribe of Joseph, 12,000 were sealed. And finally, of the tribe of Benjamin, 12,000 were sealed. What's important is a total of 144,000 were sealed. What's also important is the only people that are sealed are Jews. You don't see anybody else being sealed. The Gentiles are not sealed. And if the Gentiles are not sealed, it means that the church is not sealed. And if the church is not sealed, we have to figure out why. We have to try and find out what's going on here. Because these 144,000 that are sealed, they are sealed in order to protect them from what's going to happen at the day of the Lord. Because the wrath of the Lamb is now coming. Everybody knows it's coming. But before it comes, God has well, let's seal 144,000. Let's seal these servants of our God. So they're going to be sealed in order to protect them from whatever is coming. So 144,000 Jews will be protected, but there is no Gentiles that are sealed. No church is sealed. And so it leaves us only 2 thoughts. The first thought is that the church will not have to go through the judgments. And this is the most popular thought because of the fact that we were not destined for wrath. We were not appointed for wrath. So the church shouldn't have to go through the wrath of God because the Lamb is coming. The wrath of the Lamb is coming, but the church shouldn't have to go through it. The second idea or thought is the church does have to go through the wrath of God, does have to go through those judgments that are getting ready to happen, but will not have the protection of God upon them. In other words, they are going to feel the full brunt of whatever wrath is going to come. I don't like that thought because there is some very tough things that are happening or going to happen when the 7th seal is open and then the trumpets come and then the bowls of wrath are happening. So It doesn't sound good if the church has to go through there, because they're not going to be protected. They're not going to be sealed. All right, so let's find out what that last thing is that takes place in the sixth seal is open, because I think it gives us, again, a clearer answer to what happens. So verse 9, starting with verse 9, it says, after these things, I looked, and behold, a great multitude, which no one could number, of all nations, tribes, peoples, and tongues, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, with palm branches in their hands, and crying out with a loud voice, saying, salvation belongs to our God, who sits on the throne, and to the Lamb. All the angels stood around the throne, and the elders and the four living creatures, and fell on their faces before the throne and worshiped God, saying, Amen. Blessing and glory and wisdom, thanksgiving and honor and power and might be to our God forever and ever. Then one of the elders who answered, saying to me, who are these arrayed in white robes, and where did they come from? And I said to him, Sir, you know. And so he said to me, these are the ones who come out of the great tribulation, and washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore they are before the throne of God, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he who sits on the throne will dwell among them. They shall neither hunger any more, nor thirst any more. The sun shall not strike them, nor any heat, for the Lamb who is in the midst of the throne will shepherd them and lead them to living fountains of water. And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. The third thing that happens is there is a great multitude in heaven from every tribe, people, nation, tongue, and they're standing before God. This great multitude, no one can number. This is the church. This is the church. Without a doubt, in my mind, this is the church. And not only we know that, is we see that these came out of the great tribulation. So some people, oh, well, they have to go through the tribulation. But remember, the tribulation has not started yet. The day of the Lord's wrath has not happened yet, because it's just the sixth seal. And the moon just turned blood red, the sun just turned black, and everything before that wasn't part of the tribulation. That wasn't part of the day of the wrath. The day of the wrath won't happen until after. And these guys are up in heaven, an unnumbered, uncounted multitude in heaven, dressed in white robes. And we are told that they made their robes white in the blood of the Lamb. They made their robes white in the blood of the Lamb. These are those who are saved by the blood of Jesus Christ. This, my friend, is the church. And this is exciting, because seal number 6, we have cosmic chaos, and everything that could go bad will go bad. But that is the starting point. Now wrath can come. Now judgment can come. But before God sends judgment, he does two things. He seals 144,000 Jews so that they will be protected through the wrath. And then the second thing he does is he takes out an unnumbered amount of people. No one could number them. He takes them out of this world, and he puts them before the throne of God in heaven. And that can be described as nothing else than the rapture. It has to be the rapture. And so if you're asking my personal opinion, the rapture has to happen in seal number 6. Seal number 6. Because the day of the wrath has not happened yet. It won't happen till after seal number 6. So seal number 7 will begin the day of the Lord, the wrath of the Lamb. I thank you so much for spending time with me in God's Word today. And I pray that you guys have a blessed day.